Good morning, compassionate souls. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day is when you're watching this beautiful thing. For me, it's 7:07 in the morning. I just wanted to take the moment to say thank you for joining the Compassionate Listening series on Class 107 on sympathy, empathy, and compassion. Whether you're part of the certification program or not, this is an excellent class to take and to share with your loved ones, because once we understand the nuances of this, vibrationally speaking, it can make a huge difference in our lives. Because I felt the sympathy and the negative vibration, but I never understood why I felt that until I began to understand vibrational medicine. Once I understood it, then I understood why sympathy doesn't feel good and why empathy and sympathy are very different. And then I also learned the difference between the empathy and compassion. And compassion is, it's an essence. It's a piece of the oneness. It's the pulling of the energy. It's the pulling of the light. It's whatever you call that energy. So everything is energy. It's frequency. It's vibration. It's either in particle or it's wave, but it's constantly there and vibrating. And once we learn the difference between empathy and compassion, and we live the majority of our day in compassion, this brilliance happens in us and we become so peaceful. And what I really love about it is there was a time when I didn't feel that the word kind described me, and I couldn't tell you why, but I just didn't feel it. But once I learned the difference between empathy and compassion, I began to feel my kindness blossom. And I began to feel like I was a part of the whole. It's a very different feeling. So I'm hoping that as you go through this short class, short but powerful, that you'll be able to understand the difference between sympathy, empathy, and compassion, and how to transition those things in your life to make it a little fuller, a little more peaceful, and more kind. So let's share the screen and we'll start the presentation. Just from the beginning. So as everybody knows, I'm Dr. Barb Tremlett. I have my metaphysics counseling and sciences metaphysical PhD. Therefore, so I work with energies, all different levels of energies, and you can call them anything you want: white light, higher source, God power, universal light, whatever the word is that you choose to call that energy, that vibration. It makes no difference. It's understanding the bigness that we are one, we are all whole, and we're all together, always connected. So I talk in the language of energy, frequency, vibration, particle, wave. I talk in that language. But I use the word God a lot in mine, and I don't want people to be shut down by the word of God. It's just a name I give that vibrational energy. Sometimes I'll use universal light, white light. But I want to thank you for your interest, your time, because this class is very important. So sympathy, empathy, and compassion, and class 107 of the Compassionate Listen series, and single, it's absolutely great also. So compassion is considered a virtue. And there'll be a whole series coming up in the summertime called Compassionate Warrior, when we talk about the virtues of a compassionate warrior and how to be powerful even in your peacefulness, be able to handle both of those things together, because it is a beautiful virtue. So wisdom, compassion, and courage are three of the universally recognized moral qualities of men, according to Confucius. And so compassion is, again, holding that space, that sacred space, to allow another person to be heard and validated. So when we're being compassionate, we have a listening ear. We choose our words wisely, because we want to make sure that the language we're speaking is an open language. And as we go through these slides, you'll begin to feel the difference. So you want to be in a place where you're controlling your reactions to someone, because remember, as a compassionate listener, we're there to help them to release this vibration that they're holding inside of them, this emotion, and we want to assist them. So we need to be very careful of our reactions to them, especially negative ones. It says, if somebody says something that shocked us, we need to not like have a face about it, or to go, wow, like in a negative tone, because that will shut someone down. We need to appreciate them and support them. We need to do just, a light touch or a body language where appropriate, of course, and ask them, what do you need? Do you need to talk about it? Do you need something to drink? I can get you a glass of water. Just, I want to help you place of peace. Be aware of your body language and of their body language, because that'll tell you whether they're feeling comfortable with you or not. And understanding their side of the story. As we know, any incident has multiple sides of the story. And I don't believe that one person's story and then another person's story and the truth is in the middle. I don't go with that concept, because there's one person's story, there's another person's story, and there, you're always going to believe it, feel it, and see it from your point of view. That doesn't mean you're not being truthful. It just, this is your remembrance of it. And some people have clearer remembrance and detail than other people. So there's just a nuance of just listening and being open with them. So once you understand their side of the story and you can help them with releasing that vibration, that's their need, that's their necessity in this series of learning how to help people release. So it's a flow of unconditional loving energy, and it's flowing from the heart. So you're breathing this beautiful energetic feeling of godliness or white light, and you're breathing into your heart and you're pushing it out. So you're breathing it in and you're pushing it out. That energetic love coming, that you're the PVC pipe that pulls the liquid down or pulls the energy down, and you're bringing it in, you're pushing it forward. And then that vibration is helping them settle into this peacefulness also, so they can begin to release. And it's open heart, no judgment. It's unconditional love. So compassion is the showing of kindness and understanding the plight of another person. And people with compassion help others without judging them or their circumstances. Compassion involves appreciating another person for their situation, their specific situation, and what they're going through, because you may go through the same situation, but you may have a whole different response to it. So just appreciating, this is who they are, this is where they are. It includes respecting others when their thoughts, beliefs, or decisions are different from yours. We're not here to make any judgment that says, say, oh, if it were me, I would do this. That is not what a compassionate listener does. We listen. It's about respecting the chosen path of others and remembering that there are many paths up the mountain. It's about remembering that at our core, we all want the same thing. We all want love and respect. And I believe as every human being, we deserve that. So as a compassionate listener, love and respect are the vibrations right up front for us to be sharing. It involves unconditional forgiveness. And it also, it's a real letting go, because when you breathe in the white light and then you're able to say, I release anything that no longer serves you, you really do want to release that and just let it go. And if you don't have the right vibration moving through you, that nervousness, fear, frustration, anger, or whatever emotion you're going through can just get stuck somewhere else in the body. So empathy is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experiences of another person. Empaths feel the other person's emotion. So we're going to break that down a little bit, because they're having empathy, being empathic or empathetic is beautiful and brilliant in so many ways, but there are times we take it a little too far in being an empath. And I know that a lot of people, I teach Reiki, and when I teach Reiki, the students that come sometimes and say, oh, I took Reiki, and every time I do Reiki and I perform Reiki on someone, I feel so drained. And I always have to say, then you're not doing it right. Because if you're bringing the universal light down through you and you're using yourself as a container to bring it out and place it out, you're bringing it down, placing it down, you're not going to be drained. If anything, you're going to feel better, because you're going to be getting a residual of that extra vibration you're bringing down in that specific frequency, and you're pushing it forward. You should be getting a residual from that. If you're bringing it down, pushing it forward, you should feel in the flow of that universal oneness. If you're feeling tired after you've been doing Reiki or working with someone or helping someone, then what you've been doing is actually give them your personal energy. Yes, I'm sure you're using the universal light, but when you're putting your personal energy into, and we do that sometimes because we just want to help people heal, right? We want to make them feel better. But sometimes we're doing that. We're actually wanting it so much of them, we're giving them part of our energy. And that's not what this is set up for. It's empathic or empathy, or being a person who shares this information. We want to understand what they're going through. So empathy people are very high. They're highly sensitive to feeling, hearing, sensing. We sense things through the auric fields. If someone comes near us, our aura and their aura intermingle, and we feel something. But Sympathy, see the little violin, and it's not always, but it really is this vibration. It's like a self-pity party. And again, that sounds rude, I know, in some ways, but I want you to go through this and understand. This means that both empathy and sympathy, both of them, deal with emotions. We have emotions of both of these about what that person or what we feel that person's going through. So here's the one big difference between empathy and sympathy is empathy involves feeling what somebody else is feeling, while sympathy doesn't. Sympathy instead involves understanding someone else's emotions from your point of view. Okay, that, you know, oh, he looks like he fell down. That probably hurts. Not knowing what it feels like to fall down. It's a difference. You feel the pain versus you see the pain, and you think, oh yeah, okay, but there's no connection in that way. So what is sympathy? It's having thoughts about how somebody else feels. It's thoughts about how somebody else feels. And when in conversation, giving unasked for advice, we do that sometimes, passing a judgment, only noticing the surface level of an issue, understanding only it from your perspective, ignoring or suppressing your own emotions about it. Like, oh, that's too bad. That looks painful. Or expressing a regret or disappointment about an unfortunate event or a piece of information like, oh, that's such a pity. Must be really difficult for you. I can't imagine. Yeah. So there's this disconnect of actually feeling that, but a judgment and a placement on it. This is a really negative vibration. It's a low vibration. So even from the perspective of, let's say someone passes away and you say, oh, they lost their mom. That's sad. Versus you maybe lost your mom and you remember the energy that you went through and the frequency adjustments you had and the pain you had when you went through it. So that's more empathy. So then you're more likely to go, wow, I remember when I went through that. Oh, that hurt really badly. That must be what they're going through, and understanding it. Or as empaths do, we can feel it. We can feel their pain. We can feel their anguish. So there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is like looking at it from this tunnel vision perspective with no real emotion involved. And there's usually judgment, or let me tell you what you need to do next time. There's a lot of that part of it where you know better how they should do their life than they do. So that becomes a sympathy pity party. And if you're in that space, like, oh, I'm always in pain. Oh, why do all these things happen to me? Like, if you're in that, you're in a sympathy pity party. You're like, you're allowing yourself to be held down in vibration. And a lot of people get mad when I say that because they think I'm not doing that. That's not true. But you are not a victim. As we all know, you need to take responsibility. So if you're constantly blaming everybody else for your low vibration, you're in that self-pity party. You're holding yourself in vibration low. So, but the nice thing is it's so easy to get out of and move along. So sympathy, unlike empathy, is practicing. Okay, practicing sympathy doesn't mean you feel someone else's what they feel. Instead, you have pity on them or you feel sorry for them. It's that vibration. So you feel bad. You don't understand how they really feel. A sympathetic approach only provides a surface level understanding of someone's situation. And this understanding is typically from your perspective, not theirs. The sympathy also can lead to unsolicited advice on how someone else should deal with their life and their emotions. And when offering advice, it's usually common for sympathetic people to pass judgment. Unlike the empathy, where we don't pass a judgment, but we feel their emotions. Or somebody talking down to you. Oh, well, good for you. I'm glad you figured that out. That is not a good tone to take with someone because of the judgment in it. But if we look at empathy versus sympathy, the empathy, you have the ability to identify and understand another person's emotions and feelings. But with sympathy, the feelings of sorrow and pity for someone else's misfortune, it's a lower vibrational feeling. So you're not really understanding their situation. You're looking at the outside of it. And you can understand another person's situation when you're empathic. And when you're having this sympathy reaction to someone, you can't really understand what they're going through. Just like when you're an empath, you may have a similar past experience and you remember the emotion when you went through that. But the sympathy person doesn't have that connection with it. understanding through the empath, it's understanding, accepting, understanding or acceptance are evoked. Like we, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, that must be difficult for you. And we feel it, versus the sympathetic person is a pity, sorrow, and concern. And they're like, in their way, they're not emotionally connected to you. So empathy is active, understanding someone's feelings as if they were yours, and getting to the root of the problem, offering comfort. Where sympathy is just passive, feeling sorry for someone from your own point of view, offering unsolicited advice, and many times passing judgment. Now, I know this feels repetitive. I do this on purpose. I give you repetitive information with different nuances. So it's easier by the time you get to the end of these slides to say, I totally get this. So again, compassion is unconditional. It's caring, safe, non-judgmental appreciation of everything and everyone around you. It's respecting decisions, even if you don't agree with them. You can be the most compassionate, awake person, working with a woke person and giving them compassion, and just trying to understand that we're all different, and still giving them that unconditional love and respect. So it's not taking on the other person's emotion. Okay. We're unconditionally loving them, but we're not taking on any emotion. We're just pulling of the white light. We're pulling of the God energy. We're pulling of the source in, and we're releasing it out. We're pulling it in and releasing it out. And at the same time, releasing anything that no longer serves me. You always want to wash that through your body and release it. Empathy, that happened to me before. Oh, and this is how it felt. I remember feeling these emotions before. So you sense the other person's emotions, and you imagine that someone else, they might be thinking, wow, it hurt so much, because you kind of remember what you've been through like that, and you imagine yourself in their place. So empaths are beautiful, energetic souls that have this aura that just dances and sings with everybody else. Whereas sympathy, again, is, I'm sorry for you. That's a pity. What a shame. Aw, too bad. You need to fix that. You should have seen that one coming, and wow, that was dumb. So like there's a judgment on this sad situation that you're going through. Compassion is high vibration, love, empowerment, freedom, passion, untethered by another person's negative or even positive. That we look at the highness of everything. We stay in passion and peace, and we don't have any judgments, good or bad, when we're listening to somebody else's story. We stay in that bubble of light and energy. An empath is feeling what another person is going through, or imagining what another person is going through, and they feel their way through this situation when they're talking to you. And sympathy is just a low vibration and invokes brokenness, shame. Oh, too bad that this has happened to you. Like, oh yeah, disappointment. So you're disconnecting completely from them energetically and vibrationally. It's a very low vibration. So again, practicing empathy instead of sympathy only can get you, you can get the emotional clarity you need to build important relationships. If you're always doing the pity party on someone, you're not going to have a very peaceful relationship with them. You need to be able to see things from other people's point of view. And with an empath, we have our issues. So empath would say, I feel how you feel. Like we have this common energetic bond, where a sympathy person would say, I know how you feel. And they don't. They just don't. So what is empathy? It's feeling what someone else feels, actively listening to what they're saying, not judging them, being aware of the nuances and nonverbal cues when you're watching the body language for yourself and for them, discovering their perspective and acknowledging everyone's feelings. Oh, I see that this is making you sad, and they've been able to bring that, incorporate it into your conversations. So empathy is the ability to understand and share a person's feelings. If you're an empathic person, you can listen to what someone else is saying without judgment. So we don't have the judgment. This ability can connect, not only limited by your experiences, but an empathic person can feel someone else's emotions regardless of their personal experiences. So some of us on the more empathic level, we feel somebody's vibrations, we feel their energy. And so that's one of the ways that we work through the world, is feeling our way around. When you you're able to discover their perspective with their awareness and using like the nonverbal cues. You're also able to just simply listen without feeling forced to provide an unwanted advice. Now, the good thing is that empaths are amazing. They connect so well to life. But the harsh part of being an empath is we also feel other people's pains. We feel what they're going through sometimes, but we're not here to take on the ownership of their feeling. We're only here to understand from that perspective where they're coming from. So empath is, I hear you. We can, how can I help you move through this? How can I assist you? And given the current reality, how can we succeed? What tools can I help you with? That's how an empath handles it versus the sympathetic person to say, oh, I agree. That's a terrible situation. There's really nothing we can do about it. Or I don't know anything about how to get through the system. I don't know. Everything's so broken now. We can't do anything. So you could feel that disconnect of love and emotion with the sympathy versus the empathy. So starting with compassion, to have compassion for other people, you must first fill your cup. You must first take care of you. You must fill your vibration up. So we want to breathe that energy and we want to take care of ourselves. We want to raise our vibration through all these different avenues. We need to be taking care of us first. That's why becoming a compassionate listener is wonderful. We need you. We need you. We need you. But you need to fill your cup first and feel the love, the vibration, and feel your health getting stronger. Because when you're going through this process, you are not giving of self. You are giving of the compassion energy coming out. The self in you is not sacrificing. You're getting energetic high from this. You're feeling at peace. You're feeling called. So it's important to understand the nuances. So first, love and accept yourself wherever you're at. Expand and forgive yourself for every time you've fallen, every time you maybe you weren't at your best. Forgive yourself and step back up into doing your best. Feed yourself with those nurturing foods, practices, and thoughts. We don't just get compassion and stay there. We have to continuously be feeding ourselves high vibration. That would be foods, practices, and thoughts. And if something's not working, let it go. It's not always to let go of a relationship. It's not always easy to let go of a bad habit, but we need to let it go if it's bringing our vibration down and not working for us. And you need to treat yourself. Remember, we talked about love and respect before. Everybody wants to feel loved and respected. And you want to be able to do that for yourself before you can give to another human being. So bless yourself with these many layers of health, mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Do everything you can to bring your vibration up so you're ready to serve. And celebrate your successes and then release anything that didn't feel its best. I tried this, it really didn't work. That's okay. Let it go. Because in your best, you let go of things that don't work. And then when it's time, you take another step and you try to do something again. There's no such thing as perfection. And done is better than perfect. I say that all the time. Done is better than perfect. So if you keep waiting to improve, you may never get to the perfection. So step in, create your desire, put some action to it, and put some compassion on it for yourself if you're less than perfect, as we all are. So talk kindly to yourself. Make sure you're sharing with yourself what a great person you are. And when you're empathetic listening, when you're using your empathy for listening skills, you can see the person who's talking, they're revealing their secrets, they're revealing what they've gone through. This is the experiencer telling you what they've experienced. And you're over on the listening side and you're okay, and you're listening. You're like, you could feel their body language, you could feel the energy of their words. And when you're doing that, there's this place of understanding where you both come from. And when you're in this place of understanding, there's this beautiful dance. They feel heard and you love listening to that energy. And maybe sometimes they'll ask you and you can give it, your opinion. It's not a counseling session. This is not counseling. This is empathetic listening. So you can see that place of understanding in the middle. And many people within this human experience would describe themselves as sensitives or empaths. A lot of the people that are listening to this probably are in that grouping already. So empathy and compassion are often misunderstood emotions. Some people view these emotions as negative and they're a drain on their energy, while other people see empathy and compassion as a gift. So the overview that I'm giving is intended to take a little dive into empathy and compassion and the impact we have on ourselves, for ourselves, others, and even the collective. Because we're all connected and expressing empathy and compassion, we're helping raise the vibration of ourselves, right? Ourselves and others. So to understand when you are, let's say you're being empathic in a counseling and there's someone's low in vibration and you start taking on their low vibration. That's not what empathy was made for. Empathy was made for you to be able to sense what somebody else is going through, not for you to experience what they're experiencing. So they're struggling and they're telling you how bad their life is. You're not going to take on their pain. You're not going to take on the anguish. Empathic is just to understand the feelings and emotions. What we want to do in that situation is we want to pull in compassion. We want to pull in that white light. We want to pull in that universal energy, suck it in, and share that energy with them. Okay. We're not taking on their vibrational situation, good or bad. I mean, yes, everybody is around it. Your auric energy, the vibration, the average of the 4 or 5 people you're closest to. And that's beautiful, but we're not there to live someone else's experience or feel their pain. That's why compassion, coming down and bringing the universal light and pushing it out to them, that is not only the healthiest way to handle it, but we're not here to sacrifice self. We're not here to lower our vibration to serve someone else. And people who get in there and they're giving so much of their self that they come out away depleted in energy, I would suggest that maybe there's a better way to do that, to give the universal light, not of self, in that vibrational situation. So heart-centered empathy and compassion. So it's cultivating an awareness that the feeling you empathize with is not yours. It allows you to be compassionate without taking on somebody else's lower frequency. You can offer compassion in action, which is service to others, delivering food, offering a smile, a prayer, an indirect light and healing energy to help someone, assist them in their pain. But you're all doing this with still remembering you're heart-centered in your space. You're staying heart-centered in that energetic space there. And aligning with your heart allows you to relate to another person, what they're going through, and offer without taking of your own. I can help give you energy and support without taking away from me, because that becomes an energy of sacrifice. And when you're sacrificing, there's a lower vibration in sacrifice. So we're all one. So we pull from the energy and we put the energy out. We don't pull from our energy and put it out. That's called sacrifice. And there's not times we don't sacrifice our time and energy in a situation here or there, but that's not meant to be a daily existence for us. We're supposed to pull it in, be of the highest vibration, and share the vibration. So in compassion, it's open listening, it's positive body language, it's a flowing of this loving light in and out, in and out. It's a no judgment. It's kindness, that word kindness, strength. And we have strong boundaries. And sometimes when you're a compassionate person and you're not taking on other people's stuff, they see you as not helping them, not saving them. People get aggravated sometimes, especially when your whole life you've been that way. But you have to have boundaries. So that's the highest vibration, is staying in that compassion. And then good vibrations, which sometimes can leak into the lower, is empathy. We want to understand where somebody's coming from. We want to feel the emotions that they're feeling, or in our, we're already picking it up in our bio energy field around us. We're already feeling them. So it's a sensing kind of thing. And we're responding to them. We're empathetically responding to what they're saying. We're encouraging them. They're encouraging their words. We're encouraging them to speak, because we want to help them get the energy out that's being stuck there, the emotions that are stuck there. We want to make sure they're at ease and they're releasing those vibrations. So we're going to be open and active listening as an empath or empathic, or in that strategic place of being there and helping them move through these vibrations. And we can create action in the body. So empathy, we can feel it. We can feel it moving around, and then we can take it and we can push it out. So that's a good vibration, that empathic one, that empathy one. But then when we lower our vibration into the lower groupings, that's sympathy. That's, you're listening for information. There's judgment. So information is not necessarily feeling, it's information. There's a judgment on it. We're trying to fix someone else. We have pity for them. Oh, you poor thing. Unsolicited questions and answers that are really not appropriate. a victim mentality. So when we put someone in this little category and we give them sympathy, we're actually holding them in a low vibration, which is victim status. We don't want to do that. We want to help raise their vibration so they can feel better, and then they can get into a state of making better decisions. So to sum it up, high vibration, good vibration, low vibration. Okay. So I'm really prayerful that we can take a look at what we're doing to say, how can I help my compassionate listening skills? And this is a key place for everybody to understand. And then also the little tips for empathy. It's listening without interruptions. It's a comprehending their point of view. It's without any judgments. Being an empath, you are showing open listening, open body posture. You're nodding. You're visualizing yourself in their position. You feel love and caring toward their story. And when you're in this place of caring and empathy, you're not in a place where, oh, this is how I can fix them. You're not already prepared with an answer to give them on how to solve their issue. One of the best things I did in my life was I bought a book when my kids were younger. It was called I don't know the author, but How to Talk So Kids Will Listen, and Listen So They'll Talk. Is one of the best experiences I had reading that book, because I used also in management later on in life as I had corporate jobs. But we have to be in that place where people want to talk to us, that they feel honored to talk to us, but we're not taking on that. We're letting them drain us of energy. And I'm sure some of us empaths, as soon as somebody leaves our house, are like, boy, am I tired. And that's because we let that energy be drained from us instead of going through compassion. Sometimes on empaths, we let a little bit too much go. So the tips for compassion are just being with and embracing your own self-love, your caring, and your own forgiveness. In with this good, I release anything that no longer serves me. Constantly throughout the day, just breathing this universal light in and loving yourself and releasing anything that doesn't serve you. I release all that doesn't serve me. And so you practice and feel this constant kindness for yourself and others. You be present and in the now, practicing without ego. I can tell you that nobody is better than me, and I am better than nobody. We are all equal. We are one. And there's no reason to have an ego where none of us are better than each other. So, staying in that peacefulness that we are one is hugely important. Breathing in that beautiful energy and releasing anything that no longer serves you, because that kind, compassionate warrior, that soothing soul, that compassionate soul is what's going to change the world. And there's no judgment, and we appreciate, and we just keep doing our best. So I'm going to say thank you for your time and energy, understanding sympathy, empathy, and compassion. This is one of the key things I think every human being should learn. And when I think about the changes that are coming up in the world, it's really more and more important every day that we release any judgments, we release these pity parties, and we start to live fully of this compassion and pushing it in and pushing it out, because we cannot help other souls if we haven't helped ourselves first. We can't keep giving of we can't keep giving up the personal energy, or we'll get depleted. And we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot coming. There's a lot more coming, and we've got to be there for our loved ones, our families, our communities, and many, many people whom we never even meet. We've got to be ready. So I hope that you enjoyed this program on sympathy, empathy, and compassion. Please join me for more teachings on energy psychology, energy and medicine, metaphysics, the science of spirituality. All of it's about frequency, waves, vibrations, particles. It's all energy. Everything's energy. And once we get these concepts of how all this works in the universe, life gets so much better, so much sweeter, so much easier. And the kindness comes in. You can be kind and at peace, no matter what chaos is around you. So I want you to remember this. I'm Barb Tremlett, Soul Solutions, and our tagline is finding your passion, expanding your consciousness, and advancing your enlightenment. We're all in this together. And it's important you remember, it's your life, it's your energy, and you are not a victim. Stand up and take loving responsibility. Thank you very much. And I look forward to talking to you in the next part of the series as we go through this process and all the live programs that we have. So thank you. Namaste. Look forward to seeing you in the rest of the series. Have a great day.